Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC Eddy, your favorite podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. Well, I want to apologize to our viewers last week who had to see me looking like something written hard and put away wet because I had just got off of work. I was in here with a hoodie and some of the world's worst lighting known to man. I've made a few videos in my time and I should know better, but guess what? You learn from your mistakes. It's all a part of life. And we grow, we evolve, we keep on going, we could keep on pushing. And apparently last week I missed a memo about wearing button-ups, but I came prepared this time. I'm in my wonderful garnet-colored button-up. Shout out to B-Live and Clemson. But anyways, this is episode number 97 of the Sports Bros Podcast. And like last week, we're going to wave to you once again, because for the second consecutive week in a row, you can see us again via Zoom. You can listen to us on where your podcasts are available, and you can see us once again on Zoom and also on our YouTube channel. Well, enough of me running my mouth, because I'm pretty sure y'all sick of hearing that, because I am. I have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? This be your boy once again, episode 97, man. We're so close, so very close. And I would also like to apologize to our viewers, because Eddy Kool thought he was going to get enough reflection off of his forehead to give lighting to the video.
Wow. Wow.
But you know what? I digress. My bad. Let's just go ahead and get to the sports. You can introduce that other guy on the show as well.
An unprovoked attack early.
You get your mic muted for that, but I'm not gonna do that tone reality. I'm not gonna do it. Not this time. But you anyways. And introducing the other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the illest mashed potato slanger, chicken finger server, this side of the Mississippi, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, none other than the one, the only, the Money Man, Scotty D.
Never fear, eye candy is here. But Eddy, I'm not holding that button down thing against you next week. I'm not wearing that every week. I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna see me some weeks in here in a t-shirt or maybe shirtless. I give you all something to look forward to.
Oh, no.
Once the weather changes, you can see here in Washington, Pennsylvania, it's another just balmy day here. I think temperatures reach a high of 30 today. But once we get up into this high temperature, I may not even wear a shirt doing this. I'm doing this from the comfort of my own home. So again, I just give you all something to look forward to.
No, we're not looking forward to that at all. Me and Eddy Kool were working on some things with Zoom. You show up on this shirtless, he will take you off the video.
I get edited out from that.
Yeah, immediately.
Audio only. It'll be audio only. That's
right. So, like you.
Yeah, I still got my. I gained the COVID-19 last year, so still have to work that off a little bit.
That's why you're only getting this half. You're not getting anything below, because it's a lot going on down there. But I digress. Eddy Kool, Amtrak this thing. Let's get it.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk sports.
Yep, I got it. Get it together. Yeah, B-Live, you're right. I got to Amtrak this thing. We cutting up already. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on into the NFL news and notes. As we stated once before, yes, the play on the field stops, but the behind-the-scenes stuff, the transactions, the signings, the cuts, releases, all that good stuff, it always keeps on going. And this past week, the Philadelphia Eagles have agreed to trade the number 2 pick of the 2016 draft, Carson Wentz, to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that can turn into a first, as reported by Jason La Canfora of CBS Sports. And with that being said, fellas, with Carson Wentz gone and in Indy now, which fan base seems to be the happiest? Is it the Colts or is it the Eagles? Be live. We're gonna start with you first.
Well, this is a tough question for a number of reasons because I don't like the Eagles fans. I think they're some of the worst. I think they're the second worst fans to leave, second only to the Cowboys. Yeah, I already said it, and you knew where I was going with this. But I digress. As far as the Eagles fans, it just depends on how much they know. The salary cap hit that the Eagles are facing right now is the second worst in the league for them to win 5 games last year. And a lot of that was because of Carson Wentz. Now, they still take a cap hit this year because of the way the trade was structured. So the Eagles will not be making too many plays when it comes to free agency. But I think that Eagles fans going to be just a little bit happier because Carson Wentz was not the most consistent the past couple of years. He did get them to the playoffs, but then again, I think in the Eagles fans that Nick Foles won that Super Bowl for him. So the Eagle fans were a little here and there about Carson Wentz to start with. With the Colts, they get the heir apparent, so to speak. So maybe they're happy. And for the price of it, just a second round and a third round draft pick for a quarterback that I think he still has somewhat of an upside. So I'm at a impasse right now. I'm not quite sure, but I think the Colts they're going to be the winners of this outcome. What do you think, Scotty D?
I think the happiest fan base was the Chicago Bears because they were afraid they were getting him. And that would have been another crazy situation if he had gone to Chicago where quarterbacks go to die and been up there either with Foles or replacing Foles again. Carson Wentz, if you look at his career, had really one very good season. The others, obviously this past one was terrible. A lot of it, I think, had to do with his confidence being completely shot. I don't think for him there was a better place to go than where he went because he's going to be with Reich. He's going to be comfortable. Reich's comfortable with him and trusts him. I think the Colts fans, I think they got to be kind of happy because they're going to get, if they get what Reich and him were building in Philly, if they continue to build on that, they're going to have a good quarterback. I just think in the AFC, that's going to be a problem because I don't think he's getting them past the Chiefs or Bills going forward the next couple of years. The Eagles, I think they have to be disappointed because they didn't get much back. Now, there were not a lot of offers from what we were hearing coming in. So it's not like they took a bad offer. I think they took pretty much the only offer because even the Bears they called, but they didn't make an offer. But I think Eagles fans might be a little bit disappointed because of how much was given up in the Stafford Goff trade. The Lions made out on that deal. They got a boatload of picks for that. They got there's 2 or 3 number 1 picks, I think, however that was. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles, Carson Wentz didn't get that kind of haul back. So I think the Eagles, not only that, but they have to be concerned because I don't know that they're counting on Jalen Hurts being their guy going forward. I mean, he showed signs to spark the team last year when they needed a spark, but I don't think he sees control of that job by any means. So I think of the two, the Colts fans probably have a little bit more to be happy about because if they get the quarterback that was progressing a couple years ago and he picks up there with Reich, then it's going to be success.
But yeah, I could tell you one thing though. Colts fans might be happy, but one particular Colts player, he said, "You know what? You come through, but I'm not budging on the number at all."
Keeping number 11.
Yeah. So, what was this? Michael Pittman. He said, "No, I'm keeping my number, player. You're gonna have to come up with something else." And I'm like, Wow, off rip.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna start the locker room and everything. But yeah.
If Brady would have got there, do you think he'd have said, "Nah, I'm married to this number. You're not having this"?
Nope. It would have been like, here you go, take it. It's whatever you want me to do. There's no problem. I'll buy you lunch or whatever needs to be done. Also, I think about this whole situation with the Colts is that it's a good situation for the Colts. I think the Colts fans are happy because they have one of the top tier offensive linemen in all of the National Football League. Not to mention you got a pretty good defense. Excuse me. They just need to upgrade at wide receiver. They need to upgrade at wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton has been kind of up and down the past few years, and you got the emergence of Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, there's some room for growth and development in that organization, but that offensive line, they didn't give up a whole lot, and they had Phillip Rivers last year at the helm, and he passed for over 4,000 yards. So just imagine what Carson Wentz can do with Frank Reich back in the saddle once again. This time as a coach and not only the offensive coordinator. And
I think they win the division next year, as it stands now. I mean, I know a lot can happen, but I think that they're the favorite to win that division.
Yeah, it really puts them up there now. What you think, B Live?
I think that I think it's an upgrade, but I will pump the brakes because there's a couple analysts out there that says this puts the Colts as front runners for the Super Bowl. I'm like,
negative.
No.
What?
No.
Where?
Negative on that.
Ooh, okay, but I want to put that out there because
who said that?
A couple analysts from that 4-letter network.
They just talk all day on the same subject. Somebody was bound to say that. When this deal happened last week, they talked about this for 8 hours straight that night and all day the next day. So I guess somebody was bound to say that makes them Super Bowl front runners, but they are not. I mean, not as long as Mahomes is in business, and like I said, the Bills are on the, they're on the uptick. The Browns are starting to look promising. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a stretch to say that, hey, they're the front runners for the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, stretch, reach. It's a little bit too much. Like I said, the defense is good. That offense is good. It'll be a definite upgrade with Carson Wentz. But as far
watch
as
them go next year.
And then,
watch them go. We'll look stupid. But.
And then we'll be over here eating crow. I prefer my crow fried, gutted, and hold the feathers, please. And hold the feathers, please. And that about wraps it up for the NFL news and notes and the Carson Wentz situation. B-Live was never sold on Carson Wentz, but we gonna see what he does next year in the AFC South. A change of scenery might be good for Carson Wentz. Coming up next, we got fight nights. At the fights with the Sports Bros, we had a couple of fights this weekend. We had Adrian Broner versus Giovanni Santiago and over in the UFC. We had Fight Night in Las Vegas. We had Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes. And we are going to talk about the Broner versus Santiago fight. The outcome had a little bit of controversy. Broner was a winner. Or was he? People were confused, like, what's going on? Scotty D, you saw the fights. Can you tell us what the hell happened?
Yeah, Adrian Broner, this is his first fight since January, I think, of 2019. And that night, he lost to Manny Pacquiao in a fight that he barely threw any punches and still thought he won. This guy has had his share of problems out of the ring. So he's supposedly has a new attitude, mature side, and was going to come out gunning. And he was 0 for 12 landing punches in the first round. Now, the first 2 or 3 rounds, Broner and Santiago just kind of sparring out, feeling it out a little bit. But it really wasn't until about the 9th round that Broner came on. I think he won a couple rounds. I would say best case scenario, he won 5 rounds. Santiago won 6. And then there was 1 round that Santiago he won, but had a point deducted. But one of the judges had it like 117, 111, and that's outrageous. He clearly did not do enough to win this fight. He was outpunched by over 100 punches. He's the name. Adrian Broner is he's one of only like 4 guys to win titles in 4 different weight classes. I just think that the name carried a little bit of weight, but there's no way he won that fight. This just it's typical of boxing that this kind of stuff happens over and over and over again. You finally get a guy in the ring, it takes him forever, and when you get him in there, then the judging sucks. No, it's all, and that's why UFC is taking over.
Well, the punch count for that fight was 207 to 98.
Wow. Yes.
Like, you tell me
98 punches in 12 rounds? Come on. Now that wins you a fight?
I'm still trying to figure out how I land 100 plus more punches than my opponent, and then I lose.
And be live, the 98 punches they threw, he didn't never like put Santiago in trouble. He didn't knock him down. He had one puncher, Santiago's knees buckled and his glove almost hit the ground, but it did not. So it didn't count as a knockdown. And other than that, he was never in trouble. It wasn't like he had like a couple outstanding rounds where he was, taking it to the guy. No, it was never that.
Once again, I've said this countless amount of times. I want to hear post-fight interviews from the judges. I want you to explain to the general, because I think
tell me what you saw.
This is what has happened over the course of time with boxing. You have to be you almost have to be a analyst to get why some of these matches are scored the way they are scored. And it had been something like that. And I want transparency. I want you to explain to me why you thought that Broner won that fight, despite him being out-punched by that wide of a margin. So I don't know. That's why, I was trying to get in the fight because I want to be more informed about it. I'm catching highlights. I'm reading articles after the fact, and there's all of it leads to the fact that, like you said, Scotty D, Broner didn't win that fight. His name did.
Yeah, and he won it unanimously. And what's funny is, now I watched. This was heartbreaking. I watched the first 11 rounds, and at the beginning of the 12th round, my internet cut out, and I did not see the 12th round. So when the internet came back up, I went and I looked, and they said that Santiago decisively won the 12th round. Like, there was no question. He produced a lot more, volume of punches in the 12th. So that one was scored for him. That means that he had to win that just to, that means he was way behind. It's impossible to have seen the fight go that way. Broner was 0 for 12 in punches. 0 for 12. That's like a bad night of 3-point shooting in the NBA. He was 0 for 12 in the first round of throwing punches. He didn't win. He didn't. And if somebody scored him that one, if he won that first round, I'd love to know how you win a round in boxing without landing a punch. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I wound up catching some of the highlights of it, and I was like, he's barely touching him, and he's barely. Oh, and there was that one blow where he kind of staggered Santiago a little bit, but other than that, man, Santiago was in that. He hung with him all 12 rounds. He really didn't. Broner really didn't do anything to really hey, I got to put you on your back, got to put you on your ass. He really didn't do anything convincing, Adrian Broner. No. They danced and they did the bare minimum. They did what they could, I guess. And it was a classic case of one of those fights being popular due to name recognition. So I was like, I don't know about this.
Adrian Broner fights are boring. He doesn't throw enough volume of punches. This is like the third or fourth time I've watched Broner fight, and his fights are always like that. And he always thinks he wins. It's amazing. He doesn't throw punches, and he's mad when he doesn't win.
Well, Scotty D, this is where I thoroughly enjoy the interwebs and the power of Google, because I have just stumbled on the official scorecard of the fight, and 2 of the 3 judges gave Adrian Broner the first round.
Impossible. It's unbelievable.
Go figure.
Unbelievable.
I was you know what? I'm gonna try it out. I kid you not. 2 of the 3 judges. You have Tom Carson, Peter Harry, and Glenn Feldman. Tom and Peter both gave the first round to Adrian Broner.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I was frustrated watching that first round, and the announcers were frustrated because they said, well, this Broner fight starting off just like his last couple. He doesn't look like he said he's going to be different, and he doesn't look different. And they said that for like 7 rounds. Now, I think he won the second. I remember thinking, okay, after 2 rounds, this is even. And then he just enough. Let's talk about UFC because those guys were throwing punches the other night.
Yes, they were throwing punches. We had UFC Fight Night, and it was a good one. It was a good one. I wound up catching the tail end of the Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaydes fight. It was in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course. And Derek Lewis, he wins the fight via KO/TKO in the second round, 1 minute and 26 seconds in. Man, Derek Lewis is over here like, look, I ain't getting paid by the hour. I'm getting paid, so let me go ahead and make light work of Curtis Blaydes. Scotty D, what'd you take away from this fight?
Last week when I was talking about this fight, I said Curtis Blaydes will win this fight because he's not going to be dumb enough to stand there and try to brawl with Derek Lewis. He's going to want to take him down early and often and ground and pound, and it'll probably be a boring fight. And the first round, he kind of didn't really. It was kind of a feeling out round. And in the second round, he actually went for the takedown, and boom, he didn't come up for air. Boy, he got thumped. And then he was out cold before he hit the ground, and the Black Beast gave him 2 just for the heck of it once he was down and out. And afterwards, he said, I wasn't worried about anything else but trying to land that punch, pretty much, is what he said. He said, I was looking for that one. We knew he was going to want to shoot on me. We knew he wanted to take me down. It was like the perfect punch. You could just see his body go limp whenever he hit him. So that takes Curtis Blaydes out of the championship picture for the time being.
Yeah, that's the end of that for Curtis Blaydes, man. I was like, oh, man, come on, man. You let him do that to you? What you got to say about that, B-Live?
Well, it sounds like that the Lewis camp was listening to our podcast because Sky D predicted that he was going to try to ground and wrestle, and he tried it and failed miserably. He had a shimmy going down after he got hit with that one. Oh man, so that it's one of those things. I didn't get a chance to catch many highlights on this. I was actually watching another boxing match that took place Saturday, which you literally, I believe, saw the knockout of the year.
Yeah.
But Valdez and how you pronounce that dude named Burchelt, I believe. Burchelt. Either way, he was like laid out. He was literally not moving for a good 5 minutes on the mat. Like, it was scary how hard he got hit.
He collapsed like in sections. Like if you're like imploding a house and sections fall out. He like collapsed in sections. It was brutal.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's
it was one of those things when he got hit. I was like, ooh, and then I had to pause myself from celebrating and talking trash because I was legit afraid of Burkelt's condition. Like he was definitely concussed. His brains was mush. It was not a good situation. But now that's my fight night. So that's what I was watching.
Well, I wanted to point out one other thing that kind of caught my eye on Saturday night is Andrei Arlovsky. He's been around the heavyweight game in the UFC forever. He's had a couple good fights lately. He fought a young guy from England named Tom Aspinall. And this young heavyweight Aspinall, he looks like he could be the real deal kind of guy coming up through. It's not so much he's heavy-handed, but he's a smart fighter, and he submitted Arlovsky. Too soon to put him in any kind of title contention at this point. Actually, the next title shot is going to go to John Jones after the fight between Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. That's coming up. John Jones is going to get the winner of that one. Looks like Derek Lewis has his sights set on Alistair Overeem or the Russian who he knocked out a couple years ago in a rematch. His name escapes me for the moment, but that's what seems like where we're headed in the heavyweight division. But and a good one coming up here in a couple weeks is Erzurul Adesanya is moving up a weight, going after Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight championship. So always entertaining for the UFC. Actually, the UFC the other night, there was a couple fights that I thought were just, they get some of these fights when they go into ground and pound get a little boring. And there was a couple the other night. I thought these fights are a little bit boring tonight. And then the main event's going to be boring. And then it was completely not. Derek Lewis just KO'd Curtis Blaydes. So congratulations to the Black Beast. That's that.
Derek Lewis, he's the beast. And Derek Lewis is great for the UFC and MMA. Not only what he does in the octagon, but also his post-match press conference. That is definitely some must-see stuff. What we'll do on our Facebook page, we'll post the post-fight interview. Hilarious. He was like, "Yeah, I got $50,000. I'm gonna just save my money. I don't really want to fight 5 rounds. I just want, I just want Overeem in 3 rounds, because if I try to fight for 5 rounds, my body gonna lock up. Like, it's gonna be time for you to retire and time for you to hang it up." So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what's next for the one, the only, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. All right, fellas, going on to the NBA. As we know, Anthony.
Before we continue, because I know Scotty D was alluding to Alexander Volkov.
Okay, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I just want to throw that in there before we talk some NBA. But Eddy Kool, your show, handle it.
Yes, appreciate it, B-Live. See, we got our own live research department. Hey, B-Live coming in clutch, finding out the name of that opponent. As I said before, NBA news, we're going to slide right into it. We're going to talk about Anthony Davis, his injury, and the LA Lakers. AD will miss 4 weeks with a calf strain. Yes, with a calf strain. And fellas, I'm going to start with you, B-Live. Who will be the next man up for the purple and gold?
Here's the situation. I actually watched a couple debate shows about the situation with LA and who's going to be able to step up, and is it good for the Lakers or bad for the Lakers? And what we're already seeing right now is one thing that I'm seeing clear cut as day is that LeBron James is trying to find somebody to step up, and nobody's doing it. And so LeBron being passive as opposed to being aggressive in some of these games is leaving the Lakers very vulnerable. Will they figure it out at some point in time? That's left to be said. I'm not sure. But the way they played the last 2 games against the Nets, like the Nets didn't have Kevin Durant. So it was almost a balance of like talent, but then that just shows that Kyrie Irving and James Harden, they're dangerous without Kevin Durant. The Nets are going to be extremely dangerous if they have a healthy squad. With that being said, Anthony Davis being out with a calf strain, they also said that it was a strain in his Achilles as well. There was Achilles. I could tell you as a basketball player, that's one thing that is very hard to recover from. Basically what I'm saying is that I don't see Anthony Davis being 100%, which is going to leave the Lakers I still think it's going to be at a disadvantage unless LeBron James literally takes the team on his shoulders and wills them to wins and everything. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make a deep run. I really like what Utah's doing. I like what Denver's doing. I like what Portland's doing. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, the West is just going to be too tough for LeBron to carry it on his own. And it's clear as day, it ain't going to be Caruso. Good Lord. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn the other day. And LeBron kept throwing the ball to him, keep trying to shoot. He was like 0 for everything I think he may have gotten one made shot at some point in time that last game against the Nets. But yeah, I don't know. That too soon to tell who's going to step up but LeBron can't be passive at this point in time. He's just really got to take on the mantle.
Scotty D, what's going on with your Lakers?
Didn't Schroeder miss the other night with injury too, though? Wasn't he out as well in the Nets game? I think Schroeder's been missing a couple games.
I believe so, but I still haven't seen him establish himself as a key player on the Lakers. So I think the jury's still out on him.
It is, but he was starting to gel with AD and LeBron a few weeks back, I thought. But again, the season is, even though it's a shorter season, it's still early. Anthony Davis is never going to be 100%. He wasn't 100% last year in the finals. He's always going to be hurt in some way. That was my biggest concern when they made the deal to get him in the first place. He's always had injury problems, and he probably always will. Guys that are built like him, that big, tall frame like that, have tendency to get injured. So if they limp into the playoffs, that might be all they really need. If they fall to like a 2, 3, 4 seed even, I think once they get there, they'll handle their business and make a deep playoff run. But LeBron's going after the MVP award like gangbusters, if you ask me. He's not taking nights off. He's not taking plays off. He's turning the ball over a lot, but he's playing his tail off, trying to drag that team to as many wins as he can until AD gets back. I don't know. I still think, they're still trying to gel a little bit. They got a Marc Gasol in there now, and he's another one of these 7-footers that likes to shoot threes. That frustrates me out of my mind. I don't know. A little bit early. I still think it's too early to be panicked as a Laker fan.
Yeah, I saw Kyle Kuzma showed up for a little bit in the first quarter of the game.
He needs to step up. Yeah, he's the guy that needs to step up.
Yeah. That's a guy. If you ask that question about who needs to step up, I would say it needs to be Kyle Kuzma, the one that needs to step up.
I agree. And I think, Eddie, he's still a little bit intimidated by LeBron because he was much more aggressive pre-LeBron.
Yeah, you got to be better than that. Kuz, come on, Kuz. Let's get it, Kuz. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, he's that playing with LeBron. That was one of the main concerns when I thought when LeBron inked the deal with the Lakers a few years ago. I'm like, will guys play with them or will they be intimidated?
Yeah. And I think he lost. I think sometimes he's afraid to be aggressive and take the shots himself and go to the rim himself. And he has it in him. I've seen it.
It's there.
Quick question while we're here, because maybe I missed the memo. Who's the point guard for the Lakers? Or is LeBron?
LeBron.
Pretty much LeBron.
Yeah, he's doing every damn thing. It's his show.
Caruso handles when he comes in. He's a bench player. Caldwell Pope seems to, spot up in the corner. He's not really the ball handler. It's LeBron, really.
Here's something else that I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it, and maybe nobody else will admit it. But the past couple of games, LeBron James has looked tired at the end of games. He'll dribble past half court and he's looking for somebody else to get the ball. Like, he does not have that drive or that killer instinct that you would think he would need to have late in games, especially in close games. Maybe I'm overseeing it. Maybe I'm delirious. I don't know. That's what I see.
You could be delirious. You could be.
But I'm just saying, nobody else sees that. If nobody else sees that,
honestly, I'm not watching the games as closely right now as I have in the past. And part of that's because the league played so late. And so he might be tired. He didn't have as much time, to get ready as they ordinarily would. He didn't get the summer off. Well, actually, he did get the summer off. But you know what I'm saying? He didn't have the end of the season to preseason time off that he ordinarily does. And he doesn't do load management. He plays every night. He's out there every night. He doesn't take nights off like Kawhi Leonard and Durant and some of the other guys. And how did Kyrie Irving get voted an all-star starter? He don't even play. He took like a personal sabbatical or something, and he got voted into the All-Star game. It must have been Dominion voting. I don't know how he got into the All-Star game.
Oh boy.
I don't know how he got voted in. I don't know.
You know those All-Star games, man. They're a popularity contest, man. You know how that rolls. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like you. We gonna like you. We all like you. So therefore, you gonna start. So it's a popularity contest.
It just makes me real nervous. Are there really that many people out there that are flat earthers? I'm just saying.
That's a weird dude. He's a weird dude, man.
Kyrie is an outstanding ball player without question. He is an all-star. He's one of the top players in the league. But the way he started out this season and just said, you know what, I'm just going to literally disappear, and the fans still love him and vote him in he wouldn't have got my vote this year.
No,
he's doing great, but he wouldn't have got my vote this year just because of his just the way. How do you disappear? But then again, also these are the same fans that put Luka in the All-Star game over Dame Dollar.
Yeah.
And if anybody that knows anything about basketball right now, Dame Dollar is having a far better season than Luka is. I really think that's just name. If you would think Dame Dollar's got the name brand recognition.
It's Dame time, baby. Dame time.
I mean, but so it's fan voting. It's fan voting. Even the players are like, I think Luka actually came out and said, I don't know why I got voted. I think Luka even admitted that.
I think he did too.
So, well, but that's what the All-Star game is all about. It is for the fans of voting and everything like that. And of course, because of COVID-19 and the city of Atlanta, they don't even want the fans there. So
what's the what's the purpose? Like what's the purpose of having the All-Star game in a place like Atlanta, and then people can't even participate in the festivities? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they're doing like the 3-point contest and the dunk contest during halftime.
All in the same night. There's no weekend event. It's all going to be the same night, and I just think almost to the point of, you know what, let's take this year off. The NFL said no Pro Bowl. You know what, we really don't
they should just scrap it, give them a couple days off.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing to do until the world gets back to normal. Because what's the purpose of watching an All-Star game when you can enjoy Friday, Saturday, and then the game on Sunday? It's just it just ain't.
The All-Star game itself is always the worst part of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Except for last year, not the year before, where they changed the format. I like that new format. It made it competitive. I can't remember the exact format design, but I do remember that they ended up the first team to 157 points, which again showed no defense. But it was something about the concept that, like, it was back and forth. Like, they made it real competitive. So I did like that part. But I really, this year, scrap it. Let's come back in 2022 and figure it out from there.
Okay.
Yep. That'll be what we do, and we'll figure it out from there. But guess what, fellas?
What's up, Eddy Kool?
What is it?
I'm glad you guys asked. Well, I asked. I'm glad you guys answered the question. It's time once again for our favorite part of the show.
What is that, sir?
The choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard the woman, none other than the choices of the voices. And look, we 90 plus episodes in, and the woman ain't got no right reason or anything to lie. None whatsoever. With that being said, Scotty D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
The question was, what NFL Hall of Fame eligible player who has not yet been elected into the Hall of Fame would you most like to see get into Canton? Got a couple interesting picks here, Eddy Kool.
Yep, we have a couple interesting picks. So we're going to lead off with the one, the only Joe Gafkin, a.k.a. Joy Buckets. All right, and he says offensive tackle Joe Jacoby, who played with the Washington football team from 1981 to 93. He said he has no issue with Russ Grimm being in the Hall, but if they are only going to end up with one member of the Hogs in Canton, it should be Jacoby. He played longer, 13 seasons versus 11 for Russ Grimm. Appeared in more Super Bowls, 4 as opposed to 2, and was more dominant player at his position. Grimm was getting Riggins' running room to the running room on the 50 gut. I guess that's a play. Anyways, but Jacoby overpowered defensive ends in the run game and protected the blind side of Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and flipped the right tackle to form one of the best pass blocking lines ever for Mark Rippon in 1991. That's a very solid case for Joe Jacoby, fellas. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, he was in the Super Bowl 3 times, blocking for 3 different quarterbacks. I mean, it's so hard for offensive linemen because they don't accumulate stats. You can't just, like, 10 years down the road, like, we can go back and look at stats from years ago and say, man, why didn't that guy get in? He had great numbers for that time. There is no such thing for offensive tackle. So if you didn't see him, maybe some of these younger voters didn't. But I agree. I think that's a good call for Joe.
That's a very, very compelling argument. I had me once you read it, everything, I'm like, oh man, put him in the Hall.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And that's one thing you can always count on when it comes to Joey Buckets. He will bring passion behind everything, especially everything Washington football team related. Now, if they could be passionate enough to actually have a team name and a mascot, then I might believe in him a little bit more. But, that's it. I would say that's neither here nor there, but actually is here and there right now. Name the team. You're literally a multi-billion-dollar entity, and you can't figure out a name. You don't have the.
Amtrak, Eddy Kool, Amtrak.
Yeah, because he about to go on and on and on and on. Shout out to Erykah Badu for that one. Uncle Max, be live. He said he has fun for you. Max McGee, okay? the legendary Max McGee. He also said Randall Cunningham as well, too.
And I can appreciate it because, I had some jokes on the unsung hero of Super Bowl I. Yeah. You sure that was that shot in color? Or was that?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I think Max McGee caught the first ever Super Bowl touchdown, though. Right?
Hey, so that is a legendary status as it is. Yeah. But I when he actually mentioned Randall Cunningham, I thought he was in there, and I guess I'm mistaken because Randall Cunningham, I think he was one of those trailblazing quarterbacks that he changed the game. It's definitely different now, more or less because of Randall Cunningham's style. And yeah, I put Randall Cunningham. Could you let me finish talking?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me why not. Tell me
just
why
no.
not.
That's just the answer. No. That's all I got.
You're going to explain yourself, just like we talked about the boxing judges. I want you just can't just come up with some arbitrary answer and not explain yourself, sir.
Be live. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the Eagles are in the NFC East. That's why.
The NFC East, of course.
And Randall Cunningham used to own the Dallas Cowboys when he played. But we'll just
Hey, look,
here we go.
I did say that this question is not necessarily for anybody you say is deserving, but who you would like to see. So that's a good answer. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I would also all jokes aside, I would like to see Randall Cunningham in the Hall of Fame. Didn't he punt a football like 90 yards or something like that?
Yeah.
And Randall had a cannon. I mean, Randall was a frail little fella, but man, he had that cannon, and he had a like you said, B-Live, he was a trailblazer for what we see now with the mobile quarterbacks. All right, moving right along. Mark Olds, he says Bo Jackson.
That was going to be a Hall of Famer if he had stayed healthy and stayed with football.
First ballot.
That is Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Tecmo Bowl.
First ballot Tecmo Bowl Hall of Famer.
Like, we used to have rules when we were playing Tecmo Bowl as kids that you could not pick. You could not pick the Raiders. You could not have Bo Jackson because he was a cheat code in that game, and it was ridiculous. It just, man, yeah. If he had stuck with football and the injuries, oh my goodness, yeah, he without question Hall of Fame. So I definitely agree with this answer.
Yeah, I think Bo would have had to run. I think he would have had a rushing record easily. He was a freak of nature. Rumor has it, when he was in the woods hunting, he took a big old rock and he saw a deer and he just knocked the deer out with the rock. Or was it a rock with his bare hands? Either way, yeah, Bo Jackson was otherworldly. Yeah, otherworldly. All right, we got the best name in the game, JoJo Comfort. He said, I'll say it before and I'll say it again, Roger Craig of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, lots of receiving yards, lots of rushing yards.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Again, somebody else that I love this question for this very reason is because we're coming up with names that I would think that they would have been in just by growing up with the sport of football, and these names are very recognizable and their accomplishments on the field and everything. It's just like this football Hall of Fame is a lot better than baseball Hall of Fame. I can tell you that much right now off rip. I'm sorry, I digress again. I had to throw that out there. But yeah, Roger Craig, my dad is a diehard 49er fan, so I grew up with watching Roger Craig in his heyday, and yeah, definitely good mention on that as well.
Yep, I would. I would. Why not? Because as we all know, he was one of the first to get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. And man, Roger Craig was that dude. You talk to a lot of the old heads, man. They bet, look, Roger Craig was the real deal Holyfield. No jokes, no lies, no BS. And of course, we got to save the best for last. Trey Dizzle and his foolishness. He said, well, I would say Tony Romo, but he isn't eligible, and we all know that he's a first ballot shoe-in. So I will say Mike Allstott and Fred Taylor. Just because they didn't win and weren't flashy and popular, they don't get voted in. So dumb. End quote.
Tony Romo will not get in the Hall of Fame. He has great numbers, but no postseason success, so no Hall of Fame for Romo.
Okay, quick question. I'm gonna ask this because the way you said it, you wouldn't put Tony Romo in the Hall of Fame, but you'd put Phillip Rivers in.
Yeah, I think Rivers had a better career, longer career. I think he's more deserving.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there because Dallas Cowboys fans are known to be delusional at times, but I like to hear valid answers from a Cowboys fan.
We skipped a couple too. I'm sorry, B-Live, but we did skip a couple.
Yep, we did.
We had Rodney Bellamy had an answer on there.
Yeah, Rodney Bellamy, his case was for Zach Thomas. Yes,
Yeah.
Zach Thomas of the Miami Dolphins. Zach Thomas he was a good player, and I don't see why he's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, probably because he was undersized, and
I think he will be soon, though. I think that's a wrong that will be righted.
yeah, because he was Zach Thomas was tough, man. Zach Thomas was a very, very he was a very tough dude, man.
Yeah.
Just like you said, Be Live, the Football Hall of Fame is way better than the Baseball Hall of Fame.
It's more prestigious, and like I said, we've named a lot of good names that I think are definitely top tier athletes that aren't in. So it's one of those things where it's definitely like refreshing to hear some of these names come back up, because at times, because of just the nature of the sport and everything, some names get lost, but it's the true fandom that brings out some of these great players, and hopefully they do get mentioned when it comes to the votes and everything like that, and hopefully maybe one day, especially with Zach Thomas, definitely.
Well, I think kind of what happens in the Hall of Fame, and this is just my own personal opinion on this. I think a lot of times, because they're limited, you only can put in like a maximum of 7 per year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of these guys get pushed down. A guy like Torrey Holt, and then next year, Calvin Johnson comes along, and the voters get excited because Calvin Johnson's like, he's Megatron, this otherworldly receiver. And so Torrey Holt gets pushed down another year. Then next year, another good name comes in, and Torrey Holt gets pushed down again. And the next thing you know, the Veterans Committee is looking at it and saying, oh, well, this guy actually was pretty good. We just have been kind of just not giving him enough attention because he's not new on the ballot anymore. I think that happened. I think that happened with what's the tackle from Jacksonville? Baselli?
Yeah, Tony Baselli. Yep, Tony Baselli.
I think that kind of thing happened to him. I think other receivers in the past, I think, because, and that's another thing, if you have a receiving class, you might say, well, we already have 2 receivers. I'm not going to vote for him this year. I'll wait till next year. Let's put a defensive lineman. I think there's more to it than just who all is deserving. I think the voting process, because the number is capped, I think a lot of times that pushes a guy down. And Corey Loughran mentioned L.C. Greenwood, and he's another guy that probably won't get in because he's part of the 70s Steel Curtain Steelers, and most of their guys are already in already, so he probably won't get in, but he was another really good player. But that's just my opinion on why I think some of these guys get passed over. I think their name gets slid down the ballot from year to year because Peyton Manning's on this year, so he's getting my vote, and some of these other guys are not going to.
Yeah, you had a lot of the thing about this year's Hall of Fame. You had a lot of surefire first ballot Hall of Fames like Megatron and Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning's kind of like, well, you gotta let these guys in. They're the best at their positions. And with that being said, we want to give a shout out to Joe Gaffigan, Uncle Max, Mark Olds, Trey Dizzle, JoJo Comfort, the best name in the game, Corey Loughran, and also Rodney Bellamy for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Be Live, who you got for the Hall of Fame?
My Hall of Fame is going to be more sentimental than it is going to be play on the field.
Okay.
Is it Dabo?
No. But I appreciate you bringing it up because all roads do lead to Dabo. But Sam Mills for the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Plenty of sense.
That's a deserving pick.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a deserving one.
And it's one to say, yeah, he was definitely a top-notch linebacker, but it's also one of the things where I think this question also was garnering towards somebody that was one of your favorite players that just doesn't have enough of the votes, doesn't have enough of the push per se, the longevity of their career, et cetera, and Sam Mills is definitely up there. And I'm a diehard Carolina Panther fan, and he's starting the mantra "keep pounding," and that is going to be part of the Carolina Panthers to the end of time. I just love it. Sam Mills, everything he's done for the community, for the team, and everything like that. He is part of what's it called? The Panthers. It's not the Ring of Honor. It's but he's part of the Carolina Panther Hall of Fame. It would be
Why
nice.
Do you think he's not? Do you think he didn't play long enough, or why do you think he's left out? Because he was a holy terror there for a little while.
And that I think that's what it is. It wasn't necessarily a small window, but I would say that there was 4 or 5 seasons where he was top notch. But it was like I want to say first 2 years he only recorded, only recorded, but so many set. Let me see if I have it pulled up real quick
and if I'm not mistaken, didn't Sam Mills also play for the Saints as well too?
Yes, he did.
The Saints had a heck of a linebacking core there for a little while, and he was like the centerpiece of it. They had a really nice defense when he was in New Orleans.
He was being there, so I think with that should help him his time in New Orleans, and also what he.
That's what should carry him. I mean, his time in Carolina was short.
Yeah,
he was. I mean, his career mostly was with the Saints. I don't know why he wouldn't have already gotten the votes. Him and Zach Thomas both are similar players. They were just, undersized but hardcore middle linebackers. Then, Urlacher waltzes right by him into his jacket. So,
yeah, exactly. While Blaydes was trying to figure out what's going on his end, Scotty D, who would you choose for the Hall of Fame?
Well, did you find what you were looking for, Blaydes?
I'm actually good with what you had already mentioned about his time at the Saints and the Panthers.
Okay.
So I do appreciate that.
Okay. I'm actually going to agree with Trey Duke. I think Fred Taylor, actually, not only would I like to see him, I think Fred Taylor deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, running back from Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. This dude had 1,100 yards or more 7 different seasons. He also caught the ball. He had 290 career catches. Check this out. On the all-time NFL rushing list, he is 17th. 14 of the guys ahead of him are already in the Hall of Fame. The other 2 are Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson, who are going. Mm. There are 20 guys who have rushed for less than him that are in the Hall of Fame. He has more yards than Earl Campbell, Terrell Davis, and Gale Sayers. This guy should be in. And I actually also kind of would make a case for Eddie George. His career was a little bit shorter, but Eddie George, had a few monster years there with Tennessee. He was kind of the centerpiece of their offense. So Fred Taylor is definitely the guy I would like to see get his due. And I don't know that he ever will.
I mean, he should. I don't see why not, because what was his nickname? Fragile Fred. But when Fred Taylor was healthy and had everything together, he was a monster. He was a beast. He was unstoppable. Well, fellas, I'm going to fast forward into the future, aka 365 days from now. I'm going to have to go with Steve Smith. Yeah, Steve Smith will be eligible as of next year, if I'm not mistaken. He was a wide receiver for the Panthers. He holds all the reception records for the team in his total existence. He played from 2001 to 2013. He was drafted out of University of Utah back in 2001. He also began his career as a special teamer. Was he a kickoff specialist at first, Blaydes, before he became a big time receiver?
Yes.
Yes. He's. I don't have his all-time rankings as far as yardage in front of me, but he's top 10 if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 7th. But don't hold me to it. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know in the comment box. Eddy Kool, you're wrong, but I think he's 7th all time with receiving yards. And you want to talk about a tone setter on the field? Ice up, son. Like celebrations, and this dude was 5'8", but he played like he was Megatron at 6'5". And so for years, Steve Smith was the heart and soul of the Carolina Panthers offense. I just wish Super Bowl 38 they would have won. They would have won one for him. But you can't have everything when you want it. But I would have to have a strong case for Steve Smith Sr. for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he'll get in. I think he's definitely in.
So, Scotty D, real quick, do you want to get Eddy Kool, or do you want me to get him?
Be my guest.
Because he didn't
get me.
Oh yeah, because you didn't read the question. The question said Hall of Fame eligible players. Steve Smith's not eligible until next year.
He fast forwarded. We're gonna give him a pass. He's a host.
We don't give
of the show.
We don't give no. See, we do not give passes around like that. He should have been paying attention.
Eddy Kool, he's on you today, buddy. He's on your forehead. Now he's on your answer.
Scotty,
he's on your shirt.
You know what prompted B Live? You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had it coming to me. I said, "Hey B Live, guess what? I'm wearing my beautiful garnet colored shirt today." And you see how he had to get up and change his shirt?
Oh yeah. I was like, this is how we're gonna start things off. Oh yeah, it's all good though. But no, of course, Steve Smith, he's gonna get in. But one thing that Scotty D, you mentioned that it was actually shell shock, and I went and looked it up. Torrey Holt.
Yeah,
he's not in.
Torrey Holt and Hines Ward, both guys around the same time that I thought were going to be like first ballot guys. And Isaac Bruce, I think, is in already. Isaac Bruce already got in, and him and Torrey Holt were like right hand and left hand out there on the greatest show on turf. So it's hard to put one without the other in that case.
And from that team, let's see. Kurt Warner's in, right?
Marshall Faulk.
Isaac Bruce.
Who's missing?
Torrey.
That when you mentioned it, I was like, wait a minute. Why is he? Because I want to say isn't Torrey Holt like top 5 in receiving yards?
Close to it. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how did you miss him? Just, huh? And
I don't think he's top 5, but he's up there. I mean, he's definitely has the resume to be in. Yeah. Now, guys, let me ask you this. Now, here's one that we didn't have anybody answer as far as coaches go.
Okay.
But last week I was talking about Marty Schottenheimer. Marty Schottenheimer, Pittsburgh guy, went to Pitt. He's from Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, which is just right up the road here from Washington, Pennsylvania. Marty Schottenheimer, not a Hall of Famer. Now, Marty Schottenheimer, his career record, 200 wins to 126 losses. He has multiple division wins, 5-13 in the postseason. So it's almost like he was a regular season Hall of Famer, but not a postseason Hall of Famer. What do you guys think? Do you think Marty Schottenheimer deserves a place with that record?
Put him in there. Because winning 200 games is not easy.
No. And he had 13-3 twice with Kansas City, 12-4 a year with Cleveland, 10-5. Like I said, he was Hall of Fame material in the regular season, no question. And you had a drive here and a fumble there, and he didn't make it into the Super Bowl whenever he was right there on the doorstep. And I think he was coaching Joe Montana with the Chiefs, and they lost in the AFC Championship game to the Bills when the Bills were on their run. Although he did win one championship in 2011, the United Football League, the Virginia Destroyers, they went 4-1 and won the title. B-Live, that's right up your alley there. That kind of swaggy football league like that. The UFL. He's a champion of the UFL. That should get him into the Hall of Fame, right? It's a Pro Football Hall of Fame. He should be in. That should cement the legacy right there.
You threw me so far off because I like the who. The what? Where? You know what? Yeah. You would think that was up my alley. I do like my little defunct football league, but
yeah, you got a history, buddy, like defunct football leagues. But
the problem with the UFL is they actually had a championship, whereas the other ones that you like don't have championships.
Well,
one championship.
Well, see, the thing about it is the XFL would have had a championship,
but didn't.
But COVID. AAF was
the Alliance, no championship.
They just ran out of money.
That's just wrong.
They couldn't play the light bill. Well, since we can't pay the light bill, go ahead and turn them off. We're not gonna worry about no champ. I bet they didn't even have a damn trophy. Ain't that something? They probably never had a trophy.
No, and not only that, but your old boy from Carolina even paid the payroll out of his own pocket or something that one week or so, didn't he? And a guy from the Hurricanes come in and try to save the day. Yeah.
Yep.
The Alliance, American Football Alliance, for crying out loud. XFL.
No, see the XFL
fan-controlled football league.
Oh boy!
Win or lose, we booze.
The XFL is coming back in 2022.
Oh, if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Oh man, it's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode number 97 of the Sports Bros podcast, and this is what we do. And now you get to see what we do. You get to see reactions, me with the bug eyes, me can't keep the composure. You get to see every damn thing here. All right, that's been fun. And with that being said, Scotty D, what's the question for next week's Choices of the Voices?
All right, I kind of like this. I'm looking forward to this question. What athlete, past or present, has made you interested in a sport that you otherwise do not care about? Someone that draws you in and brings you to a sport that you otherwise would not watch or don't give a lick about, but somebody who goes over and above. It could be somebody from the past or somebody that's out there today. Looking for your athlete that makes you interested. Maybe somebody from the fan-controlled football league. Maybe you're a Johnny football guy and he sucks you right on into the fan-controlled football league. That could be your answer. So there you have it for next week.
Oh, baby, the hook will bring you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week for another edition of the Choices of the Voices.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Yep, that's right. You heard the woman, and we gonna go home. We finna take it home. But before we go, we gonna do a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really, historical, tutorial, comedic, all of the above. When you join us for a round of pepper. And of course, I'll go first. In this day in history, back in 1939, Luthez, yep, that Luthez, beats Everett Marshall in St. Louis to win the National Boxing Association World Heavyweight title for the second time. So Luthez was throwing them hands, and he was getting belts, even way back then in 1939. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right, the phrase "always a bridesmaid, never a bride" applies once again to Tony Finau. Our boy Tony is atop the leaderboard every week at the PGA and has not won since 2016. On Sunday, it was his day, man. He shot 64 at the Genesis Open in Pacific Palisades in California. When he walked off the final hole, he was minus 12, and the leaders, Dustin Johnson and Sam Burns, had faded. However, breathing down his neck coming from behind was Max Homa, who birdied 17 to tie it and then was sitting 3 feet away for a putt to win and break Finau's heart. And he missed it. He lipped it out, and Finau had new life. And they go to the 10th hole, and Max Homa hits his ball up against a tree. He has no way of playing while Finau's sitting just off the green. And then Homa knocks his ball into the green, 2 putts for par, and Finau, putting for the championship, misses a 5-foot putt. And of course, the next hole, he would bogey. Homa birdies, or actually pars, to win the tournament. Tony Finau, you are now on championship watch, buddy. We are watching you and rooting for you. You are going to win this year. You're going to win before Jordan Spieth. We are rooting for Tony Finau to get the wedding dress. Be Live, over to you.
I'm all right. I like this whole we talk that Scotty's talking about. Who is we?
Rooting for Finau.
All right. With that being said, we're going to switch it over from golf to NASCAR. He made another left turn, but oh, wait. It's a road race, so they actually made a right turn. But Christopher Bell muscles past Joey Logano to win on the last lap and on the Daytona Road Course. That's Be Live on NASCAR. Eddy Kool, the ball.
Wow, that was quick, fast, and in a hurry. My second pepper point on this day in history, back in 1968, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, he became the first ever player in the NBA to score 25,000 career points. Hey, we know Wilt Chamberlain knew how to score.
He was
Wink,
scoring,
wink.
baby.
Yep, wink, wink, nod, nod. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right, 8 weeks ago on January 2nd, the Kansas Jayhawks college basketball team lost 84-59 to Texas. That led B-Live to throw dirt on their grave along with North Carolina, Kentucky, and Duke. But Kansas now has won 5 in a row. They are hot. They are 17-7. Texas has lost 4 out of 6, and they play each other again on Tuesday night. I like Kansas in the revenge game and to get to the tournament. B-Live, over to you.
Yeah, Kansas. You can't sleep on Kansas. They snuck out of the top 25 for a second, but they'll be back. They're back.
They're back.
All right. Well, there's it should be a feel-good story down in Jackson, Mississippi, with Deion Sanders being the coach of the Jackson State Bulldogs. They won his first his coaching debut 53-0 against Edward Waters of an NAIA football program. But that's not the headlines.
That's not what happened?
For the second time now that is reported, Deion Sanders, prime time, that has spent a lot of his career robbing people with them interceptions, has been robbed. Personal items have been taken out of his office, I guess his football office at Jackson State. What is really going on? And I'm gonna need y'all to let's get some better security for prime time down in Jackson State. Yes, Eddy Kool, the ball.
It is stealing stuff. The world's going on. Fellas, I kind of sort of got another feel-good story for my third and final pepper point. You guys remember Trent Richardson, correct?
I remember him.
Yep, he played football at Alabama, was run over everybody, had one good year in Cleveland, and then it just fell apart after that. He went and played in a couple of defunct football leagues, the AAF. Did he play in the XFL? I don't even remember. Not in the Fan Control Football League, but Trent Richardson, he has found a home. His football career continues. The saga continues, Wu-Tang, and it keeps on going. I'm going to try my best not to butcher this league, but Trent Richardson signs with Caldios de Chihuahua of the Football Americano de Mexico. AKA, they playing American football down there in Mexico. And I got some quotes from him, courtesy of 24/7 Sports, Bama Online. Trent Richardson said, my role will be ... We'll have to let y'all know. Breaking news will come out soon, but I know when I do get here, I do want to win, and I do come to win fans. Trent Richardson said this. And I'm going to bring a lot with me as far as my mindset, teaching, and helping bring the awareness to the community, to the team, and what this team is about. He also said we've talked about everything in our meetings that we've been having. So who knows? I might play. I might be part of making the decisions or help out bringing awareness to the sport. I might be part of all of it, all of the above. So we'll see. It's going to be breaking news real soon. Hey, man, I guess dreams don't never die. Over to you, Scotty D.
No bueno. All right. I'm a little bit annoyed by Garrett Cole of the Yankees. Last week, he was talking about how a lot of teams aren't signing veterans because they don't want to pay them. He thinks that the teams are tanking because they want to go with the younger players and the veterans contracts are too high. Is that annoying to you? Because I'm annoyed. It's annoying. It's annoying to hear a guy who signed last year for $324 million in 9 years to be whining about salaries in baseball. Fernando Tatis, after a half of a season, signed 14 years, $340 million. Trevor Bauer, 3 years, $102 million. While the Pirates signed Chase and Shreve. for $1.5 million if he makes the team. You're going to be out there whining and complaining about money while I go to the ballpark and have to buy a hot dog for $10 and a glass of pop for $5. I'm annoyed. Be live, over to you.
Oh, the Money Man rants. Gotta love it. Oh,
he sucked in Pittsburgh anyway.
My third and final pepper point. I really do enjoy bringing it back to my favorite hashtag of this show. All roads lead to Dabo. But check this out. There's a reason why this leads to Dabo. It's not about Clemson, but it's about the team that Clemson beat in the ACC championship this year. And we're talking about Notre Dame. The entire world is excited about the resurgence of EA Sports college football video game. EA Sports, it's in the game. Check this out. But guess who says they are not going to be a part of it? They ain't having it just yet. The University of Notre Dame says they will not allow EA Sports to use their logo and the center and blah, blah. From what it looks like is that they're looking for a few more revisions when it comes to the name, image, and likeness use of players. They're supposed to be making some change to that in Congress, NCAA, et cetera, et cetera. But really, I want to just say this simply put. Who picks Notre Dame in college football, in the video game? Nobody picks Notre Dame. And just the fact that Notre Dame has done nothing, I mean, literally nothing in the past 20 some odd years. They keep trying to put Notre Dame on a pedestal, and every single time they put them on a pedestal, they get smacked off that. Oh boy, almost cussed again. Because Clemson, we lost because our defense was a little shaky and our all-world quarterback was out, but heir apparent is going to be just as good. And we showed them who we really are. We showed them who we really are in the ACC championship. And we lost in the national semifinal. Ain't nobody trying to hear anything from D.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Dudes. With that being said, though, Notre Dame, cut it out. Nobody's picking you in college. Nobody's picking you in that video game. It's all right. We'll move on. Yes, sir.
Not a single solitary soul. Yeah, B-Live, you're right. Don't nobody use no Notre Dame any damn way. I don't care who they had, what year it was. I'm picking. Who am I picking over Notre Dame? Of course, I'm picking the University of South Carolina. I might even pick Clemson, but I'm not going out my way. Hey, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to select Notre Dame. Just ain't going to happen. All right, fellas, we got our pepper points out the way. And with that being said, this is the closing, the end of episode number 97 of the Sports Bros podcast. The march to episode 100 continues. We won't be too far away. We're like a couple weeks away, if I'm not mistaken. We about to get up out of here, watch a little TV, see what's going on in the world of professional wrestling after the Elimination Chamber. Like I said, we're wrestling fans, so we true to this. We ain't new to this. Scotty D, where can they find you?
Was this logo on this side a little bit ago? Did that switch? Did I flip-flop?
It might have flip-flopped, Scotty D.
Okay.
But...
All right. Anyway, if you're just listening and not watching, ignore that last comment. All right. You can find me or us on the Sports Bros Facebook page where we pose the question of the week, or on my page. I am on Twitter. I think it's the little @ thing and then Money Donley. Is that how you get on? Is that how you find people on Twitter? It's Scott Donley. I know I have it.
It's a handle. You're right.
Okay. All right. So it's @ Money Donley. I'm trying to start tweeting out a little bit while I'm watching UFC fight. That's kind of like going to be when I'm going to tweet. For those of you like tweeting, otherwise just watch me on Facebook or follow us on here. I mean, that's it. That's all I got. Sidney Crosby, 1,000 games, and the Penguins win on Saturday night over the Islanders 3-2. Sid the Kid, thank you for 1,000 games in Pittsburgh. That's all I got.
Yep, that's a lot of games in one place. Blaydes, where can the fine folks find you?
Well, they can find me, as Scott mentioned, on our Facebook Live page. Find me on all of our social media sites that I've mentioned all throughout the times and everything like that. I am going to be the next follower of Money Donnelly on Twitter. I'm very interested to see how this goes. We do have the Sports Bros podcast Twitter, which is at Sports Bros PCast, Instagram Sports Bros Podcast, WordPress. I've mentioned this before. Continue to like, share. I'm very excited to see when this video comes out. We're working out some kinks. We're building up to episode 100 and beyond. So you can also find me this coming Monday. I will be hopefully starting my new job with Kelly Services as technical support analyst for
Whoa, that's
Apple.
important.
As I'm just a glorified help desk guy, but so
you should have gone with important. It sounds important. And congratulations on your new job, man. I hope you love it.
Oh
great.
Man, after 25 years in the restaurant industry, I think it's time to hang up the non-slip shoes and sit behind the desk. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yep, in the words of a late, great Owen Hart, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. And no, I am not a nugget. All right, that being said, that leaves me, the HOC of the Sports Bros Podcast, Eddy Kool. You can find me all over the place. If it's the Sports Bros Podcast, 9 times out of 10, you going to find me there unless otherwise something's happening, which I highly doubt, but you're going to find me on all the Sports Bros social media platforms, our WordPress website, this here Facebook like page. Bust up them likes, man. We're trying to get to 1,000, man. If you like it, love it, want some more of it, let us know. We're also, yes, the Twitter as well, too. The Sports Bros Podcast on Instagram. We everywhere, all over the place. So check us out. And also, you can check out these handsome faces that only a mother could love, and a mother will always and forever love. Rest in peace, Mom. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel. That's right, we have a YouTube channel, and we got all kind of stuff on there. We're going to have more videos, and stay tuned. I can't tell you how the sausage is made, because then you won't be able to enjoy it to its full capacity when you get ready to partake into the Sports Bros Podcast. Any final words before we get up out of here, fellas?
Yes, sir.
How about that? No, don't do that. God. Oh boy, you were something else.
You guys are lucky to have me.
And you don't even say it right. Yes, sir.
And with that being said, and in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They will appreciate it now more than ever. As I said before, be a blessing, not a burden. And don't be an ass. Wear your mask. And also, a quick word of advice. Keep up with your stuff. Okay? Keep up with your stuff. Because if you lose the stuff, this is COVID times, people are going to throw it away. We're not trying to spread anything. We're trying to stop this thing so we can go out and watch some baseball, have fun, and just get back to some sense of normality. With that being said, this has been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Be live, you going to say yes, sir? Do I get a yes, sir? Do I get it?
Yes, sir.
And that's it. Bye, y'all.